Over to you, Gayatri.
As rightly said by Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani, the success of the entrepreneur would be the key to India's transformation in the new millennium. We bring you the eSummit 2022. eSummit is the flagship event of Pathfinder, the entrepreneurship cell of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management. Our theme for this year is Vocal for Local. Vocal for Local has become the latest trending slogan that has again emerged during the COVID-19 pandemic. eSummit has commenced on 26 January 2022 and is live on D2C and is being conducted in 3 rounds. Almost, we have 300 participants from across the country and from more than 100 most reputed colleges have participated, where we have a round 1, which was a quiz. Round 2 was an exciting treasure hunt. And after a cutthroat competition, we have a top 10 finalists who sailed through the final round today with us. Today, we gathered here to bring together and celebrate the risk takers, hear their revolutionary ideas, and get inspired by their vision, making the students and nurture India's future entrepreneurs. Now, I request Sejal to take us through the event flow.
So, as today it's the last day of our event, we have planned a timeline with esteemed panelists, a most awaited keynote speech, and an exciting last round of the eSummit. We will be starting with our interesting panel discussion beginning from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., followed by our most awaited round 3, starting from 12 o'clock till 2:30. Then we'll take a lunch break from 2:30 to 2:50. We'll join back for the post-lunch session. As a final part of the eSummit, we will have our keynote speech starting from 3 o'clock and the result announcement, followed by the vote of thanks. Over to you, Gayatri.
And now we would like to introduce our esteemed faculty advisor, Professor Dr. Radha Iyer, who is our area chairperson, General Management, KJ Somaiya Institute of Management. And Radha ma'am has an experience of around 30 years in teaching entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, and organizational innovation, and also building young entrepreneur spirits among the MBA students. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and over to you, Sejal.
We have today with us Dr. Prema Basargir, Associate Professor in the areas of economics and entrepreneurship at KJ Somaiya Institute of Management Studies and Research. Prema ma'am has more than 25 years of experience in the field of research and training. Ma'am is also the program coordinator for MBA Healthcare Management. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Looking forward to a good discussion. Thank you.
So without further ado, let's begin with our panel discussion. Now I welcome our first panelist for the day, Mr. Satyajit Hange. In such an era where youngsters started seeing farming as not so lucrative and are moving towards corporate jobs, but today we have with us Mr. Satyajit Hange, the co-founder of Two Brothers Organic Farms. Started in 2014, they are using sustainable farming methods to grow different crops and are selling them in around 680 cities in the world. Mr. Hange started collaborating with schools in Pune to create awareness amongst the younger generation towards organic farming and trained 9,000 farmers with organic farming techniques. Mr. Satyajit is also featured on Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan at mygov.in. He is also rated as the top 10 organic crusader India, and this list goes on. We are so glad to host such an illustrious speaker. Welcome, sir. We are so excited to have you with us today.
And now I would like to welcome. And now I would like to welcome our second panelist for the day, Mr. Surojit Mahato, And Mr. Surojit Mahato is a co-founder of Growth Dish, and Growth Dish is a platform that helps the youngsters or any aspirer who want to learn about digital marketing, blogging, social media marketing, LinkedIn, and content marketing. Along with being a digital marketing consultant and trainer, he is also a LinkedIn coach, career advisor, personal branding strategist, content marketer, blogger, and whatnot. We are so glad to host Surojit Mahato sir today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Gayatri, so much for the kind introduction.
And today, the moderator for our panel discussion is going to be Mr. Shantanu Vadlamani, an alumnus of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, our super senior and also the convener of Pathfinder, the e-cell for the year 2020 to 2021. He is currently working at Citibank Bangalore, and now our moderator will commence the panel discussion with esteemed panelists.
Yeah, thank you, Gayatri, for that introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, Shantanu, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great feeling. So earlier I used to be that side of the table, and now being in this side, getting an invitation from my committee, it feels really good. So let's start the discussion. Good morning, Mr. Surojit and Mr. Satyajit. Welcome over.
Morning, Shantanu.
Morning, sir. So welcome to this panel discussion on the theme Vocal for Local, which basically, like Vocal for Local, this theme revolves around the Make in India concept initiative by our government of India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India and all. So your journey as entrepreneurs has been very inspiring. Like so our budding entrepreneurs would like to hear from you. So that's why thank you for once again for being here. And Satyajit sir, actually, I like your background. I think you're in your farm right now, right? So that's actually giving us the local feel. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sir. Yeah, sir. Thank you. So without wasting any further time, sir, I'd just like to begin this. So my first question is to Mr. Surojit. So, sir, we just like to firstly know about your startup Growth Dish. Like, how did you commence your business, and what motivated exactly you at that point of time when you started this? Over to you, sir.
Right. So first of all, thank you everyone for inviting me. Such a pleasure to interact with such a young crowd and people who are thinking of in this direction. And I'm looking forward to learn a lot from all of you and Mr. Satyajit here. So I'll share my story very briefly. Okay, then we can move on as you ask questions. So I was working with corporates for 7-8 years before I jumped into starting on something on my own. So I started with writing. Basically, I was writing business case studies with universities. Okay, then I started consulting, doing freelancing parallelly. Okay, so then I explored other jobs, worked with a couple of startups in the meantime. Okay, and I worked in all the areas of digital marketing gradually, from writing creating campaigns on Google, Facebook, to creating blogs, to SEO. All of this I had worked individually in each of these areas in 7-8 years. Okay, so I had grown my LinkedIn followers also at the same time. So over 3-4 years I had been publishing daily, sharing my thoughts, stories, tips, hacks, tricks. So all of this was going parallelly, simultaneously, all of this. Okay, so then I people started reaching out to me to help them. They wanted to learn so many things of marketing, of LinkedIn, okay, of writing. So I started training people one to one also. So job was going on, consulting was going on, freelancing, and I started this one to one trainings. Then a time came where I felt that I had enough clients that I can take that call, and I was making enough money so I can survive independently also. Time was becoming a constraint. So I took that call, and around 2-3 years back that time, and I started working with these clients. Okay, so but it was not easy. Okay, any such decision where my family doesn't come from a business background, right? Job is considered to be a safe option, government job a better option, the best. Okay, so starting with something that at the peak of your career you're leaving everything and making a choice to stay at home, and you have some clients, what happens if they leave? And that happened. So when pandemic hit, two three clients that I was working with, suddenly they vanished. Okay, because they didn't have the money to, they didn't want to continue at that point of time. So I was jobless for some time. Right. So then I started working with this one-to-one trainings that I was doing. I thought of making it into a bigger batch. Okay. So around couple of months, I was not earning anything. So that was very, very, hard time for me. So then I started training, people in batches. I failed 2-3 times in the beginning when I started, because at that time I had around 15-20,000 followers on LinkedIn, but I was doing it for the first time. People didn't trust me. Anything you do for the first time, it's very hard. So failed 2-3 times. Then I got two people who thought, okay, let's try, this is good. I did something for free. Okay, then gradually the batch size has grown from 2 to 200 to 500, in that range. I got corporate assignments. I'm working with some brands for as a consultant. We do strategy calls, one-to-one sessions. I have worked on an ebook that is there on the website, which I'm selling right now. So all of this in the last couple of years, if I just look back, it was a dream that I was imagining some time back. So this is in short, there is a lot in between that has happened. This is how right now as it looks.
Yeah, sir, and it looks brilliantly. So actually, your amazing journey is very inspiring. We can say, like through your job, how you took a transition to entrepreneurship career. So it's a kind of learning for the budding entrepreneurs now. Thank you, sir, for that. Now, sir, I'd just like to ask Mr. Satyajit, sir, can you throw some light on two brothers organic farming, like how it started and how you got an idea of getting into this field and how you commenced your business?
So, Shantanu, hi, good morning, and good morning to all the students and all the panelists out here. Glad to hear about Surojit's journey also. So, well, I'm a farmer's son. Both me and Ajinkya brothers hail from this small village called Bodni, which is south of Pune, 150 kilometers. And, farming in the last 40, 45 years has not been profitable, has not been socially acceptable. No farmer wants his son to become a farmer and stuff. So likely our parents put us in a boarding school in Pune with the hope that never come back to farming, never come back to a life in the village. But these holidays that we had during summers or during Diwali got us to our village, and we used to experience the village life, the farm life, growing food, being amongst animals, cows, greenery and stuff. And that somewhere lingered in our heads. And while taking our education, I did my MBA. Ajinkya did his MBA. We always loved the life at the farm, but society has conditioned everyone, even same with us. Society has conditioned us in such a way that farming is not something you study and evolve to. If you're not good at academics and you don't get a job anywhere else, then farming is for you. So we followed, that conditioning path, did our MBAs, got two jobs. I think, Shantanu, you're at Citibank now. I was at Citibank sometime earlier, and working across in Delhi, Mumbai, and Pune. But somewhere that thought used to always linger that, am I doing what I love doing? Am I, one life to live? Is it worth spending doing what I'm doing right now? Though if society has kind of stamped it that this is what you should be doing, the salary was good, the designations were fancy, the locations were amazing across the world. But this question always lingered that, are we doing what we really love doing? And the answer repeatedly came no, 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 no. So then we started, thinking about what we love doing, and that answer always was farming and being amongst the village life and the farm life. So we started mustering the courage, the energy to, kind of decondition ourselves, and muster the guts to actually come back to the village and do farming, which is very difficult we both were married when we took this decision, and to convince your spouse, to convince your family, parents, it's very difficult. So somewhere you have to just follow your instinct. Somewhere you have to follow your sixth sense and just go on the path of what you love doing. And that's what happened with us. We ultimately bit the bullet, and 7, 8 years back, we came back to the farm to do to the village to do farming. We never had this idea of creating a brand and selling products and no commerce around it. It was just to come back to a life that we loved living, and we would love waking up to and doing what we love for the entire day. One thing led to another. Farming led to us selling our products with handcart fellows in Pune, then malls, then farmers markets, then an e-commerce presence, and now we are an establishment that employs over 100 people in the village, sells to 50 odd countries across the world, no middlemen in between. I mean, a decent organic brand, as to say. We got around 50 odd thousand customers, 9,000 testimonials from customers. In the midst of doing all this, we end up training over 10,000 farmers, helping schools and colleges go organic on their campuses, establishing a not-for-profit initiative called Organic We in Mumbai and Conscious Community in Pune. And all this happened very easily, I would say. All this happened without any restrictions, because we loved doing what we were doing. And that's the story about Two Brothers Organic Farms in a
Well,
nutshell.
really, really nice, sir. It's very like good to hear that, like breaking those taboo and breaking like how a farmer's son should not be a farmer. Actually, I love that line. So it's very nice and inspiring journey. And like you have
Thank you.
also been in the corporate career, and then you finally decided what you want to do is should be like loving it and waking up to this. So it's really good. And hope my budding entrepreneurs are listening to this, and finally they'll set up of their own something what they love. So my next question again to Mr. Surojit. Sir, like currently, especially post-COVID era, digital marketing has become a very important sector. So how do you see like how important it is for in terms of any like for any startup or even for any big firm? How important in current world is digital marketing in terms of brand building and driving growth for a business?
Yeah, I would continue on this question only. Just wanted to add with what Mr. Satyajit said. I could relate to something very closely about convincing your parents, your spouse, that you want to do this. So when when I was also starting, I took that. I was married. My family was very settled. So convincing them was a bigger challenge compared to starting all of this, because any family, it's a big risk when you take these decisions. But I started thinking that tomorrow I have to convince clients, I have to convince other people. What will I do there if I'm not not able to convince here, right? So coming back to your question, Santanu, that the importance of digital marketing in today's era, how small businesses or any business can benefit from. See, the kind of any business, marketing is like the engine of the train. If the engine is not moving, more people are not knowing about your business every day, somewhere it's going to impact your growth, your profitability down the line. Okay. So even big brands who have established and everybody knows about them, they are also continuously promoting, marketing their products, their service, their stories. And why do they do that? Because even if everybody knows about you, you need to constantly keep them reminding about your brand, right? Because people have a very short term memory. So imagine 30 years back, the kind of options people had for marketing: newspaper ads, magazine ads, billboards, TV commercials, right? For small companies or small startups to invest on them, it's huge amount, right? And you don't know what will be the impact. You won't have that data also, exactly how many people saw and what happened after investing that much amount. But today, with the growth of social media and technology, what has happened is you see this social media platforms where people are spending time their whole day. Okay. There is Google, which is like a search engine. Everybody is searching something on Google every day, right? Searching their products, their questions they have in mind. So this is this creates an amazing platform for marketers to, let's say, reach out to only to the target audience and in a very small amount and get the data, right? So if you have created something, if you have started with something very small that you want to cater to your locality or in your city, you can create ads with just 500,000 bucks and see what happens and reach to your target audience, and then things can pick up. But if people are not able to know about your business, about your product, buying comes at a much later stage, right? So that is where I feel that this is sort of helps you growth in so many ways, especially small businesses.
Correct, sir. Well, we agree to that. Like, right, you rightly said about how we can directly target our audience and how we can directly reach out to them. Like, overcoming the traditional ways of marketing we had, this digital marketing has given us that thing to directly reach out to our audience and drive the business. So, Mr. Satyajit, I just wanted like a similar question to you. Like in organic farming, people would be only relating to like how we can grow the products and how we can just directly sell them to dealers. But I would just like to ask you this: is digital marketing firstly applicable, and if yes, then how can we implement that in organic farming? And have you implemented that in your business, and how it has benefited your business to grow?
Absolutely, Shantanu. What Surojit said and what he does, digital marketing, and that's in layman's language, Facebook ads and Google ads and stuff, and SEO. But I would stress on Facebook ads and Google ads is at this, I would say, at the cutting edge of all businesses today, because you have seen the transformation businesses have had over the last 3 years. The models have gone from offline to online. Anybody who had an e-commerce store and who was online could sustain. And gladly, we turned online around 4.5 years back with Shopify as a platform, plug and play, very low cost on maintenance and on running it, and organically grew for a year and then understood the importance of Facebook ads and Google ads and reaching new audiences. So today, I would say 95% of our marketing expenditure goes into Google ads and Facebook ads. It is at the apex, at the cutting edge of all our businesses. I think around 80-85% of our business comes from online. So and the ease of online, I don't need to tell you, because it's very easy to do online business. The customer is directly yours. You have his email ID, his phone number. You can service him directly. The experience you give him is something that you can design. Offline is very difficult. You have to give the retailer a credit period. The money doesn't come. There are returns. He places your product somewhere at the back. He asks for more commissions. So online is where the business is for all those budding entrepreneurs who want to start something. You should focus on online. And online, organically, you can only grow so much. The platforms are designed now in such a way, the algorithms are such that your reach is limited to a very limited audience. To expose your business and your products to a newer audience, you need expertise in Google ads and Facebook ads, and they drive majority of your business. The ROI on these ads defines viable your businesses. So, though if we are we are a startup or a brand that's organic farming based, I cannot farm and grow unless I sell. And I tell farmers increasingly that farming is like driving a cycle, a bicycle, where one foot is on farming and the other foot is on marketing. In today's context, marketing 90% means expertise in Google and Facebook ads and digital ads on the whole. So I would say, since we could do some of these things successfully, we're able to farm and take more and more farmers under the organic farming initiative. Otherwise, only growing without selling is not sustainable.
Yeah, so very rightly said. And actually, I can actually relate to that point, because even we have a farm like since last 2 years. So even my parents have started that. So I actually can relate this, and it's a very inspirational thing, like how directly now farmers can reach out to customers using this digital
Absolutely.
marketing techniques without actually avoiding cutting a middleman there. So actually, it's a very rightful thing said, and hope actually this message would be conveyed to a lot of farmers who actually are facing a huge losses, and they can actually use digital marketing and get into this. So thank you, sir, for that. And Now, sir, again to Mr. Surojit, I just wanted to ask, sir, in like as we discussed earlier, also digital marketing is a booming industry now. Like many startups are coming into this field. So, as an entrepreneur, sir, how do you take this competition thing, and then how do you strategize? Because only doing our business means actually in the market there are a lot of competition. So, what it like? How do you take competition, and how do you handle it, and then drive growth accordingly?
See, a couple of things, my business right now is focused on training majority, okay, and consulting. So you can say that I am a creator, okay, who creates content on LinkedIn, other social media channels, write blogs, ebooks, okay, and I'm training these people. So I'm sharing my knowledge, and helping people learn this thing, okay. Also I'm doing consulting with people and brands, uh, so this whole business, is so much, everything is dependent on how I approach and how I think about it. There are a lot of people doing the same thing. My way of differentiating is I focus on very hardcore skills, okay. I just don't give tips, hacks, tricks, even though they are part of my content. I also go to the next stage of how they will implement those. So the training that I do, I teach exactly people how you should write, how you should design these campaigns, okay. We do a demo, do it live, give small assignments. So our focus is on the impact that people have after attending these workshops, the books they read, or my social media content they consume. What will happen after they consume that knowledge or that information? They should be able to do it. If just for the sake of getting attention or selling a course I do this, I might be successful for some time, but eventually my idea is that they will be not be able to do it in real life, okay, in practically. So there are thousands of agencies, every premium institute is now selling these courses and all, training people. But somewhere I felt that there is a lack where I can bring a lot of value, is helping people do it live from my personal experiences, things that I have learned, okay. So by focusing on totally on impacting people, how much they will be able to do it, so the business will grow only when your complete focus is on customers, how they are using it, and whether they are able to solve the problem they were facing when they approached you. So if the focus is there, automatically all these things will grow and people will find your stuff authentic and interesting.
Well, so rightly said. Actually, exactly. So it has to be something a differentiating factor, which you rightly said. Every entrepreneur should have. They should find a gap and opportunity, and then they should put their value at how they are different from the others and different from the competition. So all the entrepreneurs should focus on this point, basically, to how do you create value and how you are different from others, and what extra service what you are giving to your clients and customers. So thank you for that point, sir. And now coming again to Mr. Satyajit, sir, I just wanted to know, like, in the field of organic farming, apart from like what we discussed till now, what do you feel like exactly are the opportunities in future? At the same time, what challenges and threats are there specific to this field, and how do you drive growth accordingly then?
So I see,
Your business.
when you say this field, you mean rural economy or agriculture as a field? So I would
Well,
take it
yeah,
as rural economy and agriculture
yeah,
as a field.
exactly.
So I think there is immense scope. There is a lot of solutions that can be implemented and can be become a business for entrepreneurs who implement those solutions in the rural landscape. See, in the city, more or less everything is saturated. Any idea that sells to a urban customer, any idea that takes base in a city, you find competition is immense. There are many people, intellectual, capitalists, funded, who already are running those ideas. Um, you know, but when you look at a rural landscape, when you look at an agricultural landscape, the guys who become entrepreneurs ultimately, your IIT guys, your IM guys, your KG Somaiya guys, you know, most of them don't come from rural landscapes. So they think only about the city solutions for an urban customer. But 60 to 65% of the population in India lives in the rural landscape. You know, the amount of people's life that the rural economy touches is huge. And so correspondingly, the opportunity that is there in a rural landscape in an agricultural field is immense. There are so many solutions that need to be designed. There's waste management, there's composting, there's agriculture, there's food processing. Food is only one part of it. There is artisanal stuff that you can make and sell. There is craftsmen that you can employ, make and sell. There are immense opportunities that are there. But I don't think so that many people who apply their brains and their energy to come and actually study the rural landscape and the agricultural landscape and design solutions. I think the best solution is to employ and to be based out of a village or a rural area and to sell to people who are in the urban area. That is something that is a win-win, because you get the money from an urban area and you can employ people in a rural area. There are people, there are hands to work, there is land, there is water, there is all the raw material that is required. Today, connectivity is very strong. You get 4G connection in any village in India. The highway connection is good. You can reach any city within 3 to 4 hours from any village in India. So I think people are not looking towards this. This is an opportunity waiting to blast, kind of a thing. Out of the 100 startups that you see on Economic Times or any other platform, 90% of them are not working in the rural landscape, in the agricultural landscape. So you imagine, you can design so many solutions for people in the village or operate a business from a village. So I think, because I am operating from a village, I also stayed in a city, worked with many MNCs and saw entrepreneurs taking base in a city. And I know what competition out there is and how that field is and to what extent it is saturated. When I came to the rural landscape, there are so many opportunities. I don't know what I can do. I was farming, today I'm making products. The product line in 3 years has gone to 30, 35 products. I'm making chocolate, we're growing coffee, making ghee. I mean, look at the variety. You would never find a player making ghee and selling chocolates. But because there are very few people doing it, and I see the value in growing the right coffee and selling it to a consumer. It's better than a Nescoffee, cheaper than a Nescoffee. It's premium Arabica coffee. And I know that the ghee we make is also amazing in the nutritional facts and benefits. I'm doing both. Now, if there were many other entrepreneurs in this landscape, I would have focused on milk and milk products only. But the dearth of entrepreneurs and capital and intellectual capital coming into the rural and village landscape, has made us operate in this entire spectrum. So I think it's immense opportunities are there in the rural and the agricultural landscape for anybody who wants to make a career, create immense wealth. Rural landscape is the place henceforth.
Well, that's very insightful, sir. Actually, yeah, like you rightly said, there are a lot of opportunities lying down in the rural market because most of it is untouched. So, really good to know that, and hope we have more and more entrepreneurs coming in this rural economy as well. Uh, so again, Mr. Surojit, just wanted to know, like in future, like currently we have some digital marketing has been a trend, like since last 5-6 years, it has been more booming in the same field. Like what could be the new technological as well as the consumer trends in this industry of marketing as per you, as per your experience, and how changes will come?
See, these are platforms where people are spending time, right? And they are not here to be advertised by marketers. They are here for entertainment, for information, for a different purpose. Marketers blend in and offer their services, right? So platforms will evolve. Now see, we have Meta, right? So it's 3D, it's immersive. So going forward, we'll have more such platforms where people will interact in a different way, right? Emails will become more engaging, more design will evolve, right? So the way social media and this kind of platforms will evolve, or what will people prefer, is very difficult to predict, right? But the marketing fundamentals remain the same. You create content contextual to that platform. you use campaigns, you understand what people are searching, what do they want, and you throw ads at them at the right place at the right time. So if you understand the fundamentals na, these principles remain the same, and any platform that comes up is going to be just another add-on in your bucket. So my suggestion to everyone who asks me these questions is, it is very hard to predict, and people who are able to do that are on a different level. So instead of trying to predict that, focus on the fundamentals, because if you are strong in what you can do and what anything that comes up, you can fine tune and adjust according to that.
Right. So actually, and so basically, but one thing which I also could say is there is a lot of scope of content creation, like in which field you are there. Like currently, because a lot of even OTT platforms have come down, like people are spending a lot of time in content or viewing content, and like you
Absolutely.
are in the field of that content creation. So yeah, this field will actually grow a lot. Is like even with what everyone feels now. And so similar, the same question to you, Mr. Satyajit, like what would be the upcoming technological trends in this field of farming? Like already traditional farming to organic farming has come, and then so what could be the future in this thing? What tech trends, new trends can come in terms of both technology and the consumers' demand?
So I think consumer demand wise, people are opting for good food increasingly, and especially after this pandemic, people have come to know the value of good food, and it has on one's immunity and on chronic critical diseases. So the demand for good food will keep on growing. People had not prioritized food for a long time. Digital devices were a priority. Something else was a priority, but spending extra on food was never a priority. um, Food inflation never grew because it's a political issue. So prices of food were kept low, but that's not the right value of good food. If you want the right food, you need to pay the right value, and which is higher than what you get in the market. So I think people will now make the mentality of spending on good food, more and more. Secondly, I think technology, like we have enabled a technology on the farm, which is a device. It has sensors embedded in the ground. It has a small wind a meter and a speed calculator. It has a moisture meter. It's powered by solar. So it gives us, there's an app that we get information from. So it gives me predicted, my area specific rainfall patterns, wind speeds, luminosity for the day. If I want to spray any organic pesticide or insecticides, it gives me the exact moisture content in my soil, whether I need to water my field or I don't need to water my field. Initially, it was done very gut basis, and excess water might have been used, but now it gives you a specific value and a reading, and then you can water your field accordingly. I have a technology in the milk collection which gives me the value of my SNF, my fat, water in the milk, any other chemicals or anything if someone has mixed inside. It captures data from the cow to the milking, to the processing, to the product making. All that data, then I can analyze and take decisions in the larger interest. So I think that is technology in the farming space will get more and more enabled. I was just looking at a tractor. We wanted to buy a small orchard tractor. Since we have a food forest, we can't afford the large tractors. And there was this company who came and showed me a tractor, and they have a button. When you press, there's a SIM card in the tractor, and a service call automatically gets registered with the head office, and the engineers send within 2 days. And this is a product made for farmers. So I think technology will be enabled in each and everything, in the instruments that farmers drive or work, in the farming per se. In the selling, there is a lot of tech that can be enabled. I think every farmer should have his own app, for example, which he then populates to people in his target customer segment in his nearest city, in a society, and gets orders directly from them. Today, there are apps that are native apps. You pay $2,000 a month for iOS and 2,000 for Android, and you can use them to a large extent. You don't need fancy apps to sell basic products to your customer. So I think tech is very essential. Though if it is a sector like farming, which you don't see any connection with technology, technology is that factor which will get a revolution in farming also.
Well, rightly said, sir. Actually, that's very insightful and good to know that how over the years technology has improved farming and how there is a scope in future also of how technological trends will help more and more farmers and help the entire field of agriculture. So good to know that, sir. And one, like, just want to ask one question about the theme for today, vocal for local. So sir, do you think this is for both of you, Mr. Surojit and Satyajit? So do you think this vocal for local and make in India initiative will make India boost Indian economy and make India more self-reliant, like not relying on the outer states and more reliant on internal? So what's your view? And if so, then how should we, like, what would be your advice for the future coming entrepreneurs, since this initiative is on booming right now? Mr. Starting from you, Mr. Surojit.
Yeah. So, thinking about any business or, any startup idea that you have, people get carried away with fancy things that goes around on the media or, in the startup culture. It's fine. Totally. If you have an idea, revolutionary idea, and you want to do something with that, you have the resources, fine. But starting a business doesn't always require that amount of effort or that amount of ideas or money. Today you can start a business just on Instagram, just with a YouTube channel, right? And this approach of starting a business, the ideas that you should look for should come from, if you just look around your locality or the people that you are in touch with, what are the problems they are facing, and how, whether if you have something that you can start off to solve that. Okay. So have a, one of my cousins is, they're in a village in West Bengal. So they have a garage, and they sell a lot of things related to farm products and those kind of things. So when they started, it was like a cycle repairing shop, and over 10 years they have understood the market there, what people want, and accordingly they have added products and things in their shop. So there is a lot to learn from the shop in your locality, 5 steps from your home. Okay. The products they are selling, how do they understand the market and analyze the market, compared to understanding how a startup is working, reading an article on Economics Times. Okay. So this is how I look at business, that solving a local problem can add huge amount of value. And the best thing over there can be that probably very few people are addressing that, so you can easily crack in. And as Mr. Satyajit was saying, there are very few people who are catering to this industry. Okay, this this a segment of people. So that same way, wherever you are, where the people, you understand that area, that market. So there, if you can add value, then others cannot compete with you in that way. So if I am born in a city, I cannot go with, it will take me 10 times more effort to go to a village and understand the people there and then create a product or a service. But if somebody is born there, he knows what the people want there, what they are going through, it becomes so much easier. So catering to local problems is so much more easier, and the approach should be this way in the beginning. Okay, at least.
Right. So your views, Mr. Satyajit, on this, about what advice would you give to these budding entrepreneurs and that?
I think I agree with Surojit completely. Have you heard about Bilona ghee, Shantanu?
Well, not
You
yet,
saw
sir.
your grandmother making ghee, churning curds.
Yeah, I have seen that. My mother, my grandmother, I have seen that. Yeah,
Exactly. You know what a laddu is, right?
yeah, I know very
It's a
well. Like,
traditional, yeah.
yeah,
And on the contrary, you also know what avocado oil is, right? You know what broccoli is,
yeah,
right? So the difference between both is that these two are traditional food items. Okay, they're local. Okay, they have come through to us through generations of knowledge, wisdom, nutritional info, etc., etc., and taste. The other two that I mentioned are imported ideas, plans, be it avocado oil, be it broccoli, be it some other thing, right? The business we do as Two Brothers Organic Farms is focused entirely on traditional, native, heirloom, uh, passed through generations, and local very strongly, because by default they're local. Yet the business we do with these products is will put a avocado oil to shame, or will put a broccoli manufacturer to shame, and we sell to the most cosmopolitan audience across 50 countries. So we have made ghee fancy to those people. We have made laddu fancy to those people. We don't call it an energy ball. We call a laddu. We have a gone laddu, we have a tilgul laddu, and we have a sattu ka laddu. And they sell amazing because you put the scientific info in front and you tell people what their benefits are, and people are bound to buy it. The taste is awesome. Now, these are all local stuff. To grow sattu is easy. To take desi cow milk for me is easy because desi cow is native to my area. To keep a desi cow is easy because it is more pest resistant, more drought resistant, and easy to buy and sell in the local economy out here. If I have to replace that with something fancy, I have to get the entire ecosystem out here and even teach people how to eat it or how to use it in their daily lives. So I think what we are sitting on is a mine of information and products and values and so many other things. We haven't ever drilled into it. Our entire uh, outlook has been westernized over the last 50, 60 years. The medium we study in, the medium we speak, the education system, our taste, the channels we watch, the idols we look up to, what they wear, what they eat, has been westernized. A classic cases of yoga, yoga initially in India was never ever a hit. You had people who did yoga and institutes who are promoting yoga and ashrams who are promoting yoga, but it was never a hit in India. When those guys traveled to the US and they established yoga with the scientific evidence and with the experience of these Westerners in the US, then yoga became a hit in India. Now it's a local exercise thing. Similarly, with foods, I think there are so many things you can cook up and you can make as native Indian local stuff and sell to the world. The variety we have across regions in Maharashtra, in Kerala, Karnataka, Punjab, there are so many different energy foods that we have been consuming since tradition. All we have to do is repackage it in a conventional language and form and produce it to the audience. Use the latest technology, but as far as possible, I think local has by default. It's not because we have an emotional connection or anything with local, but by default, local has a lot of potential to explode and become super businesses. Um, with us from the mud stage, from the seeds that we grow, we have changed our farm to a local native heirloom farm. And initially the kind of seeds today farmers grow, 80, 85, 90% of farmers across India grow hybrid seeds now, the varieties which are not ancient. And these varieties are modified in such a way by these multinational companies that they require chemical fertilizers, they require some of the other pesticide which these seed companies again make. But when you come back to a local seed and you see the seed economy that functioned in ancient India, I as a farmer preserved some seeds, shared it with my farmer friend. He gave me some of his seeds. There was no transaction involved. Those seeds by default had come over 4,000-5,000 years, so they were more pest resistant, drought resistant. Nutritional value in them was immense, and these are local stuff. So from with us from the soil stage, we promote and we are very vocal about using local seeds with farmers and growing local stuff. And when it comes to consumers like you who sit in urban areas, what you are consuming, you don't know. A hybrid, for example, oil, groundnut oil, the oil that you're consuming by the most famous companies today is made out of modified oil seeds which do not have that kind of nutrition. The oil that we make on wood presses on our farm comes from these groundnuts which are called ghungru variety, which are native to India, but farmers are not growing it because the productivity of this variety is less, but it contains less allergens than the modified groundnut. The groundnut oil doesn't stick to your intestine as compared to the modified peanut oil that made from modified seeds of peanut. Similarly is the case with so many other things. The wheat that you eat, has been modified over the last 50, 60 years after the Green Revolution, has been modified in such a way that productivity is high, but the nutritional value is low. The gluten content is very high. The fiber is very low. So you have cases of gluten intolerances. You have cases of insulin shooting up after eating wheat-based products. And today doctors recommend you that do not have wheat-based products, do not have wheat in your meals. But if you study the ancient wheat that farmers grew in India, it's a variety called Emmer long wheat, Khapli Gehu. It's a long wheat, dark brownish, is very low on the glycemic index, is very high on fiber, nutritionally rich to eat, and very easy to grow. It requires less chemical fertilizer. It can grow organically, responds to organic manure very well. So we sell only Khapli Gehu, we sell only Dagdi Jowar. Similarly, I think being vocal for local is in your best interest as an entrepreneur. Also, is best for the economy, ecology, and for your health as a consumer.
Well, thank you, sir. That was really insightful on how we went down to the ground level and being local and everything. So thank you, sir, both of you, Mr. Surojit and Satyajit. It was a very insightful session. So just thank you. Even I personally learned a lot from these two, and your journeys are very inspiring in both your respective fields. And thank you for being here once again. So now I would like to open questions for our audience if they have some questions. And over to you, guys.
Yeah, I have received some questions. So the first question is for Mr. Satyajit. So the question is, what are the strategies you use to build partnership with the farmers?
So honestly, though if I am an MBA postgraduate and I studied management, I didn't use any strategy when we came back to the farm and when we were doing farming. We just did our bit and experimented on our farm and created and documented case studies in forms of videos and photos, and kept the farm open for all kinds of farmers and people to come visit and see what we were doing in practical, because seeing and experiencing it with your five senses is more impactful than hearing it from somebody else. And then we had farmers who came up to us and told us to come and lecture their group of farmers and help them turn organic. And that's how we helped them turn organic. I think we never adopted the strategy of waking somebody up. Though if it's my neighbor, it's my relative or somebody, we never went up to him and told him, boss, organic karo, soil health sudhrega, water holding capacity will increase, nutritional profile will increase, there's a good market. Nothing of that sort, because the moment you try to convince somebody else, and especially if it's a farmer, the responsibility of making that model a success is yours, not the farmer's. And the moment it is a loss, he'll come and sit on your back and tell you that, it was you who convinced me to change my farming methods. So we never did that. We just did our way and we kept it open for people to come and see. And now there are many people who are sitting on the edge who want to go to organic but haven't seen successful models. So those people got convinced. And when a farmer came up to us and told us to help him, then we considered our duty to help them from the seed stage to the self stage. So no strategy, just do your bit, set an example, and let people come and see and request you to help them.
Yeah, that was a great answer. So the next question is for Mr. Surojit. The question is, can you please add some light on how digital marketing can help young entrepreneurs to build their brand?
I think this question is very, very generic. But yeah, definitely. See, I think I spoke about this, that the way you can start with a very small amount, get data, optimize your campaigns, and get the best ROI. Other strategies of traditional advertising don't give you that kind of benefits. So and so much you can do organically also. If you create good solid content that people resonate with, share stories on Instagram, on Twitter or LinkedIn, wherever you are, and people will start following you over time, and there is so much to be done organically also, right? So the potential is huge. Means the kind of it's you can the impact will be 10 times of what you create. So that is how social media, you can leverage social media, right? So that's how I feel about this.
Yes. Okay. So the next question is for Mr. Satyajit. And the question is, to what extent MBA education and corporate experience helped in building the venture?
So this applies with any education, any course that you do. If you use it, it's of value. If you don't use it, it's of no value. I think where corporate experience and MBA education helped me, MBA of course helped me because you see so many successful case studies when you're studying MBA. Your peer group, you get confidence from what they do. You read about so many successful businessmen and stuff. I wouldn't say any theory has helped me. Philip Kotler helping me in marketing, absolutely no. The 4 P's of marketing, no. When I was working as an employee with banks and stuff, just following the routine, uh, I wouldn't say it helped me a lot. But when we got working on the farm, and I remember the first crop we had was papaya that we grew, and the papaya being organic was very sweet from inside. But organic, as you know, is ugly from the outside because you do not spray anything to make it look chakachak and stuff. And we took it to the agricultural produce marketing committees, which is mandis that you call in the city in Pune. And we got a rate of $4 a kg. And that was a very disheartening experience because after growing it the right way and getting such a low value, it put us off completely. And we decided to go and sell as a last resort with handcart vendors near Pune. And we sold alongside them for $20 a kg. And it became a huge hit. And in no time, we had 8, 10 cart vendors keeping our stuff and selling it at twice the market price of regular papayas. And when we came back to the farm, me and Ajinkya were thinking, what if that same consumer comes back to the papaya vendor and asks him, that I want that papaya, which papaya, that papaya doesn't have a name, the farmer, he doesn't know the farmer's name. That's when we understood the value of a brand name. Now, I had studied Philip Kotler and done MBA marketing, and even Ajinkya had studied it, but we never originated the brand when we started farming. When the need came to be, then we, branded it and got the brand out. But we knew what to do when the need came. So if we hadn't studied an MBA, we hadn't taken corporate experience, though if the need came, what to do would have been a vacuum, or we would have had to research and spend time and then get the solution. So having this theoretical knowledge, having this MBA experience, having a corporate experience is immensely beneficial, especially when you're working in the corporate side. You are basically learning at the expense of somebody else, right? When I was in Citibank and I was told to open up branches in Baroda and Surat and hire people, now all this was at the expense of Citibank. As an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have been able to afford to do mistakes. But as an employee, I hired 100 people, experimented with people's nature, with their, what kind of psychology works in sales, what doesn't work, hired, fired. In this, it helped me, hone up my skills of people management, relationship management, hiring. So I think an experience, and this is only with hiring, with many other aspects, when you're selling as a banker, convincing, putting up presentations, designing solutions, interacting in the market, developing relationships, getting in touch with everybody in the ecosystem, from somebody like Surojit, who's a digital marketing expert, to a website maker. As an employee working in the corporate, you get exposure to everything. I would say if your end destination is to become an entrepreneur and do something, and you have the option of doing a job for 2, 3 years, do a job, take a profile that is a mix of many things, or you change profile every 6 months, do the maximum amount of work that you can do, get exposed maximum, develop relations, take that risk at the behest of your company, of course benefiting them and honing your skills in return. So an MBA and a corporate experience does help in the long term.
Yes, totally agree. So the next question is for Mr. Surojit. The question is, can you tell us more about Growth Dish? Like, what is the motivation to start Growth Dish? And there's a follow-up question. So the question is, what's the scope of traditional marketing in the near future?
Okay. So Growth Dish started as a blog. Okay. Initially, I didn't have all these plans. It was just me writing some articles, sharing it with the world. Okay. So that was the plan. And that also took huge amount of effort and, to bring it out on the website. Then what happened, once I started consulting, freelancing, and started this training activities, I needed someone to, let's say, assist me. So I was looking for people to get some interns, because that time I didn't have the capacity to hire full-time people. So I thought, let's hire some interns. So I put up one post on LinkedIn and people reached out to me, but they were not able to, initially do anything I expected them to do. And that was obvious, okay, because lack of practical experience. And all these people had done this premium courses from big institutes training them, right? So then, I trained them for 1.5 months, and with the goal that after this training they will be able to contribute to my organization. So that's when I realized, that this hands-on training thing is an opportunity, right? So a lot of people are looking for this kind of, if the knowledge and the experience that I have looks easy for me, but for a beginner, this is huge information. If somebody would have trained me when I was when I was starting off, struggling in my career, that time, it would have been a huge add-on. Things would have become so easier and quicker. So that's how I got the idea and started experimenting slowly. And over, last 2 years, I have trained more than 3,500 people, and all of them are connected on Telegram, WhatsApp. There is a community. So growth dish, is the idea is to bring hands-on training to people, to equip them to start their journey as a freelancer, as a consultant, and learn digital marketing in a way that they can start doing it themselves. Okay, not just the theory, so that you can apply it for your organization. Or if you so a lot of people who join these courses or speak to me, what has happened is they have reached very senior positions and they have a team who does all of this, but they don't have an idea of what do they do. Okay, so they join my course to get an idea of what actually happens, learn those terminologies. Okay, so going forward, I want to build this whole thing and cater to a larger audience. Okay, and see, traditional advertising is like a support to whatever you are doing online, and the kind of impact, the kind of people you can reach by sponsoring the Indian cricket team, okay, that you cannot get by running ads on Google and Facebook. But you have to be at that stage where you can afford, and there is an ROI that you are getting by investing in that kind of platforms. So traditional advertising is not going away. Okay, it is there and it will be there, because the reach is huge, right? So but you have to reach to that stage where it is, you are benefiting from that investment is worth it. Okay, so but for beginners, for small startups, for organizations, for individuals, for solopreneurs, this kind of advertising platforms is huge, and it helps you grow to that stage where you can start putting out ads on traditional advertising, newspaper, magazines, or TV channels, all these platforms.
So hearing this, we are so interested in the course. Yeah. So that's all for the questions. Over to the host.
Can I ask one question to Satyajit?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
so I have one more question to you, Satyajit. That so many self-help groups have been set up in villages across Maharashtra and across all the states. And there has been endeavor to build up the micro entrepreneurship among the women. So are you in any way connected or building the women's self-help groups? Are they connected with your venture? And what are your outlooks on building that?
So when you are asking me individually as Two Brothers Organic Farms and how connected we are, yes, we are. So our pouches, so the packaging material that we use is all eco-friendly. They're mostly cotton bags made by women. So there's a self-help group in Kolhapur who we employ, who makes these bags for us. There is another group in Mumbai who are, I think, handicapped women who make our paper bags. In the village self-help groups, in my village particularly, since we as a brand itself, we employ over 100 people, and I think 60 to 70% of them, 70% of them are women. So there's no self-help group, but maximum employment is from women. We are also speaking with FPOs, farmer producer organizations and stuff on ways that we can help them. We do get approached by self-help group women who make pickles and who make jams and jellies and some of the other products, but somehow it doesn't match our quality requirement, which appeals to our audience, so we don't end up taking anything from them. Um, we of course work with women farmers who want to grow and do something, and women entrepreneurs who can handle a bunch of farmers in the area and give us a product as per prescribed requirements. So there are 2 3 groups who we work with accordingly. But I think women self-help group is a great idea. It gets women in a cluster, and then they have the required power, energy to leverage deals, to do so many other things. I was speaking with I think it's the Mahila Arthik Vikas Mahamandal, Mavim. Um, somebody's, I think there's a, yeah. So I was speaking with their head in Mumbai, and they have around 17 lakh women under their fold across Maharashtra. And they had tapped into us because digitally, the way we grew our brand and the way we could reach audience appealed to them. And we're working with them on sharing our experiences on how to create a brand for Mavim, which can benefit 17 lakh women. What audiences in urban, because their understanding of urban customers very less, their understanding about technology is less. We were trying to help them with getting accustomed to it and telling them the importance of having an app, having a website, e-commerce store, the logistics around it, the way you do digital marketing and stuff. So in these touch points, we are connected to women self-help groups, man.
Thank you so much. And maybe we would like to take our ESL students and have a visit to your farm someday, because it's not very far away, right, Radha? So I was
Sure, ma'am, sure.
about to suggest to Radha, who is heading our ESL, that why can't we take one visit to their farm to see in reality.
Once things open up, I think we need to
Yeah.
do these things.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Thank
yes.
you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Do you're more than welcome to come on the farm. I'll give you some work to do also. A nice
Yes.
farm meal, fresh. There's cucumber and carrots this harvested now only from the farm. So I can give you a nice fresh organic meal, and you all come to know about the rural landscape, exposing students to how a village is and what all opportunities lie in the village.
Right. Thank you.
Great. So moving forward, now I would request Radha ma'am to share her thoughts with us.
So quickly, I think both of you brought different aspects on entrepreneurship. One is a service, the other one is a product and service, both together. At two different spaces, edtech and agtech. And the customers are international customers, Indian customers. I think a variety of things got discussed today. It's kind of got me to think that what do I do on my LinkedIn platform, on my LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn, what do I do on Twitter? How do I do have an Insta account, but I don't do anything on that account, right? So how can I build that further, etc. And yeah, Satyajit, what I've done is I've gone and seen the products on the website. Yeah, so and you spoke about gluten, you spoke about insulin, you spoke about a lot of things which are close to my heart. I liked what you also said, that you said that the people are spending on many things, but people are not spending on the food that they eat. So probably I have the fanciest phone or I have the fanciest handbag, but the fact is that I'm not spending enough on my intake on food. I think that's a line which I'll pick up. And Surojit, one of the things that I like what you said is that you wrote marketing is the engine of your business growth. So I've copied that, and I'm going to use it in one of my slides when I start my business model canvas discussion. Lovely hearing you, both of you. And I'm sure the students on the discussion here learned immensely. I did, at least. I need to say that. Prema and I are very happy to have both of you today on campus. And I
Yeah.
also want to say that this is entirely a student-driven thing. They haven't even called me, okay? Just yesterday, I saw your message saying that, what is a discussion? So I'm very happy that the student team has taken this and done this very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And Surojit, we might plan some digital marketing course with you for our
Yes.
students, and
Yes.
we definitely like to join you. Thank you so
Absolutely,
much.
ma'am. Looking
Thank you.
forward. It would be a pleasure. And thank you so much for inviting me. I have learned so much personally on
Thank you
this.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So, wow, what an empowering discussion it was. It's amazing to hear the journey of our panelists. With this, we are coming towards the end of our panel discussion. It's my honor to propose the vote of thanks. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude, Mr. Surojit Mahato and Mr. Satyajit Hange, also to our moderator, Mr. Shantanu, for joining us today. By taking time out of their busy schedule and for gracing all of us today by sharing their opinions, views, and also enlightening us with their knowledge. We are so honored to host such illustrious speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We'll call it a day. Shantanu, thanks. Shout out.